What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another series we're going to be starting out. I've noticed that my content on my channel as of recent, a lot of you guys have been very interested and enjoying the meta videos and me diving into the meta of the game and seeing what's strong, seeing what classes are weak, seeing why classes are strong, and overall I want to continue offering my opinion for the upcoming meta in 7.2.5. So we're going to be looking actually into like my first impressions of it. This video is kind of the start of the series. I'm going to be doing a little bit more structured videos soon, but I think that this one is going to be something that I can throw together really quick. It's not going to be super structured. We're just going to go through the first couple classes that I think and I've seen at the at like higher MMRs right now. So the high MMRs right now are about 2,400 to 2,500. MMR gets nerfed every time a season comes out, and the inflation is actually off, so there's no like increasing in rating super quickly. I've played about 40 games so far. I was rank 1 last season, and I got to 29-11. If you haven't seen my story on my rank 1 push last season, you can go and check that out on my channel. And overall, I've played about 40 games, so I have a pretty solid understanding of what's working right now and what's not. So first things first, I want to talk about is Arms Warriors and kind of the story of Arms Warriors coming into 7.2.5. Arms Warriors were really strong. They were played a ton last season, and they were actually buffed a ton as well, surprisingly. And they were doing upwards of like 1.1 to 1.2 million Mortal Strike crits back to back, which is obviously very strong. And they were doing stuff like 2 to 3 shotting healers. I played with Sea-Doo for a couple of minutes, and he was playing as Mist Robber Monk, and we actually were CCing the enemy team except for the Arms Warrior. The Arms Warrior went over to Sea-Doo and killed him in 3 globals, and it's like a funny viral clip that he posted because Warriors were just destroying and they were just super overtuned. Since then, Arms Warriors have actually been nerfed a little bit, so they're still playable. They're definitely still good, but they're not ridiculously overpowered. I would say that Arms Warriors are probably in about the same spot as they were last season, where they're strong, they're not overpowered, but they're strong. Damage is still pretty high, but it was nerfed a lot. And they are also able to play the Ren spec, which is more of like a multi-dotting, more consistent pressure spec, as opposed to the Sharpened Blade only burst damage type thing, where they would be able to do a huge amount of burst damage in just a small amount of time, and then they wouldn't do anything for a little while, right? So definitely seeing Arms Warrior have a little bit more playstyles throughout the current season so far. This isn't like a video that's supposed to be covering all of the entire meta and is like the final thoughts of the meta, but it's something that I've seen from my first impressions, right? So I just want to make that clear. Next things up is actually going to be Shuttle Priests. So Shuttle Priests they were extremely strong last patch. Like, they were actually very, very strong because of their misery talent, which allowed you to put up Vampiric Touch and also Shadow Pain with just by using Vampiric Touch. Shadow Priests have been nerfed in a lot of different ways now, and I have not seen a single Shadow Priest since I started queuing this season. And I think that's because Warlocks have actually gotten buffed. There's a couple new specs for Warlocks which allow them to do way more damage than they could, and Warlocks overall are looking to be the better version of Shadow Priest. Because when you take a Shadow Priest or a Warlock in Arena, what you're looking for is overall dot pressure to multiple targets at the same time, and also being able to do like disruption with fears, or mind bombs, or silences, or interrupts. So unfortunately, as a mage main, I'm seeing a lot of lock shamans, I'm seeing a lot of warrior lock shamans, a lot of feral lock shamans, and pretty much just anything with an affliction warlock and a restoration shaman, which makes it very hard for me to play my class. But I'm definitely seeing the warlock shaman meta coming back into fruition, which is something we saw a lot in 7.0 and 7.1. Because of Affliction Warlocks being so strong. I foresee Affliction Warlocks getting a pretty decent nerf coming soon. I think that since they're doing like 400k DPS in Arena, that's pretty much higher than like every other class that I've seen so far. And since I was playing with Maldiva and he was consistently doing 400k DPS even when some people were interrupting him and stunning him, I think overall I'm going to probably expect a Warlock nerf to come out pretty soon. And Shadow Priests right now are in a really bad spot because they're definitely over nerfed, I would say. I think that they're in a really weird spot. It definitely makes me hesitant to continue putting my time into my Shadow Priest, because if I'm not going to be effective in Arena, I'm probably not going to look into playing the class, full time like I play my mage. And just like speaking to mages real quick, since there seems to be some crazy like thought right now that mages are different because of their Prismatic Cloak change, just real quick, all of the mage changes for 7.2.5, all of them like didn't change the class at all. The only one that was like really drastic and changed was Prismatic Cloak, and obviously Prismatic Cloak is like a huge change. I think my thoughts on Prismatic Cloak being changed is that it takes away a lot of the fun of playing Mage. I see why people, you know, I see why it needed to be removed. It was kind of like pretty strong. Obviously, it might have been overpowered, but I feel like the Prismatic Cloak change overall was probably healthy for the game. It's just that I felt like I was able to outplay a lot of different players and different classes with Prismatic Cloak, and that kind of ruined my fun of playing that class or playing with that Prismatic Cloak talent, because what I could do is I could blink Cyclones, I could blink Full Moons, I could blink a ton of different damage, I could blink Ebon Bolt if I wanted Kleptomania, but now I can't do that. All it does is it makes it so that the magical damage taken is reduced by 50% for 2 seconds. So that's not quite as fun and interactive and proactive and skill-based. It's more so just like take less damage. So kind of disappointed about that, but other than that, mages still look strong. Like as an Arcane Mage, I still do a lot of damage. I think Fire Mage is still pretty strong. I still think Frost Mage has its niches. I definitely think Frost needs a little bit of a change. Because I think that they're just too weak. They just die too quickly compared to Fire, and in my opinion, Arcane as well. But overall, mages are still strong. They still have their places in Arena, and they're still capable of, like, you know, winning games. So outside of that, Feral Druids are still all about Incarnation and spread pressure whenever they can. Hunters are still extremely tanky. Marksman Hunter still does a lot of damage. There's still just so many things that haven't really changed and haven't been super fleshed out. I will say, speaking to healers, because I haven't spoken to them a whole lot, but I will say that Restoration Druid pretty much got gutted. I haven't seen a single Restoration Druid since I've started playing Season 4, and that's definitely worrying because Restoration Druid pairs so well with Mage, so it definitely makes me kind of sad, but Restoration Druid was nerfed so many different ways, and their class design was changed so much. I don't think that Restoration Druid's in a very good spot right now. So I'm seeing a lot of Holy Paladin, I'm seeing a lot of Mistweaver Monk, and I'm seeing some Disc Priest. I still think Disc Priest is strong. It was nerfed quite a lot, but I still think it's strong in its own way, and its right comps and whatnot. Obviously, if you replace any healer with a Disc Priest, it's not going to be good like it was last patch. But overall, Disc Priest still does have its spots, and I still think that they are capable of winning games. But we will see as that unfolds. I feel bad for Restoration Druid. Restoration Shaman definitely has more of a place in the game now. It just is moving, like the overall game is moving back into that 7.0, 7.1 meta where you see a lot of Block Shaman, you see a lot of damage comps that just put up dots and kill you. Not super like setup based like RMP, like, you know, Windwalker Mage and like all these Thug Cleave. Like there's a lot of different comps that RPS is even one of them. I'm seeing a lot of RLS now, which is just Assassination Rogue and Affliction Warlock. That's probably one of the strongest comps I've seen so far because they just do an incredible amount of damage. You just can't heal through it. And they have so many interrupts, and there's so many ways to stop healers. And it seems like the game is going much more towards the whole like dotting you up, bringing you down slowly, grinding you down. And I've seen a lot of melee cleaves too. I think that Demon Hunter is in a pretty good spot. They're definitely getting better. My friend Cheerios swears that Vengeance Demon Hunter is somehow in the meta now, but I don't see that quite yet. I definitely think Havoc Demon Hunter is in a pretty good spot. They do a lot of damage just like last patch, but they do even more now. So you might see a little bit more Demon Hunters. I haven't seen a whole lot of Death Knights. I've seen a lot of Warriors. I've seen a lot of Rets. I've just seen a lot of these melee classes that seem to do pretty well. I can't think of anything outside of Affliction Warlock, Restoration Druid, Arms Warrior to talk about in this specific video. I definitely see a lot of Shaman. I guess Enhancement Shaman's pretty good right now. A lot of people have been saying that Enhancement Shaman is going to be nerfed soon. I don't really foresee Enhancement Shaman needing a nerf, but I can understand if other people that don't have the capabilities of Arcane Mage, where I can kite them out all the time, maybe they're seeing something that I'm not quite seeing. So maybe you should ask in streams if you play Enhancement Shaman, or maybe you should try testing it out for yourself and form your own opinion if Enhancement Shaman is overpowered or not. But those are the only classes I can really think of right now that I feel like have had drastic changes and have had controversial points to talk about. I'm seeing a lot of Holy Paladins not use melee wings as much, so that's also interesting, but that's pretty much all the points that I can think of just off the top of my head, and that's pretty much going to conclude this video. We're going to be doing more structured things. I'm going to try to actually get some top players of their classes to come in and talk about their class and how it's changed in 17.5 and how that's doing in the current meta. So if you want to see that kind of stuff, leave a comment down below, telling me that you want to see more in-depth topics about certain classes, if a class is strong, if a class is weak, whatever. You can also check out my live streams if you want to check out like my live threes and my live reactions to classes and live opinions. And I will continue doing these videos, so be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for future uploads, and leave a like and comment down below if you enjoyed this series and you want to see more of that. And I will see you guys all tomorrow for another video, and I cannot wait to come back. We're moving along, we're checking out a bunch of new stuff in the patch, and I've definitely been enjoying it so far. So 7.2.5 has a bright future. I'm interested to see how it keeps going. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.